He trying to make me out of a bad guy and try to make him like a saint. Like, I'm cool with him believing in God, but we know for sure.
We try to be as much fair as we can.
Yeah, I know. I already know that you can like get disqualified for all that. Or like, when you start counting, I'm like, what the hell? But I don't know.
But I had him winning. I had him up at least 3 rounds.
Oh.
At least 3 rounds.
Oh. Not including the knockdown.
GervontaDavis is in panic mode after a shocking statement from WBA President Gilberto Mendoza about his fight against Roach. Mendoza posted on X, saying, "Let me repeat, I stand by what was said last Sunday in Ring magazine. Based on my 30-plus years of experience, taking a knee without being punched should be ruled a knockdown. It affected the result of the fight." This statement has put Davis under heavy pressure, as it suggests the result of the fight may have been affected by a wrong decision. Fans and boxing experts are now asking if the fight should be reviewed or even overturned. After the controversial draw between GervontaDavis and Lamont Roach Jr., the New York State Athletic Commission admitted there was a technical problem that stopped officials from properly reviewing a possible knockdown in the 9th round. This revelation has made fans and analysts very upset, as the missed call could have changed the final result of the fight. With WBA President Gilberto Mendoza clearly stating that taking a knee without a punch should count as a knockdown, pressure is now increasing on the New York Commission to take action.
To override his decisions or knockdowns. Some skeptics have suggested that Willis's call benefited Davis unfairly, but we do not subscribe to that notion. In our long experience judging fights, we see no evidence of favoritism, only a referee prioritizing the physical safety of a fighter who appeared compromised by an eye injury. Which I actually get. I understood that statement because, hey, look, Steve Willis he didn't call it a knockdown.
You take a knee like that looks like a knockdown, all right?
So I think it's going to be very difficult for the New York State Athletic Commission to review this and then call it a knockdown. Because here's the thing. The fight could have gone completely differently if Gervonta was told that it was a knockdown officially. Gervonta could have then responded differently because, let the truth be known, Gervonta didn't even know it was the 12th round when it was the 12th round. He thought it was the 8th.
Forgot where he was at. He thought he was still in the 8th round. He thought he still had rounds to go.
12th round. He said, damn, it's the 12th? Yeah, it's the 12th and you're down. Tank didn't know what round it was. So, if it was brought to his attention by Steve Willis that it was officially a knockdown, the fight could have gone differently, making it very difficult to review this after the fact and overturn it. But the problem is, still, though Steve Willis did not call it a knockdown officially, he also didn't call it a slip.
You take a knee like that looks like a knockdown.
He had to pick one or the other. And according to the rules, if it's a slip, the referee has to let it be known that it's a slip.
Tank Davis explained the 9th round controversy by saying he took a knee because something got into his eye and he didn't want anyone to notice. However, he admitted, "I didn't know I could get disqualified for this."
I must say, do it enough.
Can you describe what the feeling was like in the ring? And was it to get the towel out, to get the burn out of your eyes, or what was going on? And
I didn't want to get caught. I didn't want to get caught while my eyes was burning. And, you know, like, you can get knocked out like that. So I'd rather take the knee than, you know. But I didn't really know that you can, like, get disqualified for all that. Or, like, when you start counting, I'm like, what the hell? But I don't know. It's cool.
WBA President Gilberto Mendoza gave Tank Davis a gift that was originally given to him by a fan, symbolizing their close relationship. This gesture showed the mutual respect and affection between them. However, despite this bond, Mendoza emphasized that rules are very important and must be followed. He said that he cannot defend Davis if he breaks the rules. This highlights the importance of fairness and honesty in boxing. making sure personal relationships do not affect the enforcement of rules.
I got a gift for you from a guy. If you're admiring Venezuela, he made just a kid. He's just a kid that made this. Yeah, he's just a kid that made that for you. Yeah, his name is Jair. I'll let you know his name.
What's your name?
Jair.
He didn't sign it?
No, he didn't sign it.
MMA. Journalist Ariel Helwani reviewed the Davis versus Roach fight, calling it satisfactory but not exceptional. He especially focused on the controversial 9th round when Davis took a knee. Helwani argued that in boxing, such actions should be considered a knockdown, according to standard rules. This view is shared by many fans and analysts who believe that the referee's decision not to count the knee as a knockdown had a major impact on the fight's outcome. The incident has started debates about how rules are interpreted and the consistency of refereeing in boxing matches.
And the other, like, it all kind of felt like an afterthought. And then the fight happens, and truth be told, like, the fight wasn't the best fight of all time. It was fine. It wasn't your vintage Tank Davis fight. There wasn't a knockout. There wasn't a knockdown scored by him. It was just sort of fine. If that was your first time watching Tank, you're probably like, okay, yeah, sort of, I get it. But it kind of speaks to his demeanor going into the fight. Like it just felt a little bit underwhelming. And then we get to the 9th round, and then it's complete madness, because in the 9th round, you probably have heard by now, the fight is moving along, it's moving along. And it is important to note that Lamont Roach lands a jab or two, and where we want to start the clock is up to debate. But he certainly lands a punch, and then seconds after that punch lands, that jab lands, all of a sudden Tank Davis takes a knee. He quickly takes a knee, and there it is right there. 9th round, 217. He is taking a knee, and he's looking to his corner. And he also, ever so briefly, it appears as though he's almost trying to call time. Let me tell you, in case you don't know, in boxing, you take a knee, that's considered a knockdown. You cannot call time. And you know what you also can't do? You also can't go to your corner mid-round and ask them to wipe your face. Ask them to do anything. You can't get a swig of water. You can't do this. You cannot do that. But that all happened. And so the referee for this fight is a legendary referee. Steve Willis, you have probably seen him in GIFs. He's got that kind of like big-eyed look. You've definitely seen him. He's a veteran of the fight game. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I'm not suggesting he was in on it. But like, there was certainly a
fellow lightweight boxer Devin Haney shared his thoughts on the Roach-Davis fight. He acknowledged Roach's skill level and expressed his belief that Roach deserved the victory. Haney's opinion adds importance to the ongoing discussions about the fight's outcome, considering his expertise and position in the boxing community.
What was your assessment on his fight against Lamont Roach, and what are your thoughts on the knockdown that wasn't called in round 9?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good fight overall. Lamont, I always knew Lamont was, he wasn't coming to lay down. I've been knowing Lamont since we was kids. So we came up in amateurs together. So I knew Lamont was serious. He was coming in there to fight. But he did a lot better than I thought he would, and I thought he won the fight personally. Yeah, the no knockdown, that was like unheard of. It was the first time I've ever seen it with my own two eyes.
Post-fight tensions between Tank Davis and Lamont Roach have increased on social media platforms, especially on what was formerly Twitter. Both fighters have publicly debated the outcome of their first fight and the possibility of a rematch.
He like, forget that, let me take a knee. That's a knockdown. But either way, it looked like they may have an immediate rematch. Roach and Gervonta Tank Davis goes back and forth on X, and here's what they say. Which is, it seems to me that, okay, if the New York State Athletic Commission overturns the result of the fight, then yeah, it's an immediate rematch anyway. Like Lamont Roach said, he has it in the contract. But if it remains a draw, it looks like Tank's still going to push for the rematch. And I'm hearing that, the fight that they were going to have, which would delay this rematch, was a fight with Pitbull. You can argue that a rematch with Lamont Roach would be far bigger than a rematch with Pitbull. But let me know how you feel in the comments below. Showbiz adult.
Several boxing analysts have reviewed the fight and concluded that, even without counting the controversial ninth-round incident as a knockdown, Lamont Roach seemed to have won at least 3 more rounds than GervontaDavis.
That's why I call it a cherry pick. And he got his ass kicked, in my opinion. I know people going to come for me, but I had him winning. I had him up at least 3 rounds. At least 3 rounds.
Not including the knockdown.
Yeah. It was, to me, if it would have been 116, 112, I'd have been okay with that.
So
in Roach's favor.
You let your psychology get to you too, huh?
Hey, I know what I was watching.
What did you have it after 4 rounds, Zatel?
4 rounds.
2-2.
I'm sorry, after 6. Why did I say 4?
4-2.
Because I had it 4-2.
4-2 Davis.
I had it 4-2 Davis. What did you have it after 6?
I had it 5-1 for Roach.
For Roach?
He said, okay, nigga, I brought you on the show, now. That's why.
Listen.
At
that
the
first
end,
round,
I felt like I had Roach winning. Don't get me wrong.
First
Yeah,
round
at the end of 12, I had 7-5 Roach. But
yeah, I had 7-5 Roach.
Yeah.
Say again?
Didn't some of the judges give the first round to Tank?
I think so. I think he might be right about that.
How? He landed 1 punch.
Yeah.
Roach landed 3 punches to his 1, and he was the aggressor. How did Tank win that round?
Yeah.
Because he's Tank, Naeem.
Within the boxing community, there is a group that believes Lamont Roach Jr. was the rightful winner of the fight, but was denied victory due to GervontaDavis's popularity and marketability in the sport. This perspective suggests that external factors, such as Davis's status and drawing power, may have influenced the fight's outcome.
The regime boxing, check it back in with y'all, man. What's good? What's good? Look, Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach. Incredible fight. Incredible fight. Tip for tat, wit for wit, athleticism for athleticism. What an amazing fight. I had Lamont Roach winning 7-5. 7-5, 8-4, I had Lamont Roach winning. Now, I understand the draw politically. It's Tank, he's a star. You don't want to just give him an L and he didn't just get his ass whooped like from dusk till dawn. But he got outboxed tonight. Lamont Roach won that fight. But I understand the draw politically. How did you see the fight, bro? Tell them how you saw the fight.
Yo, I saw Roach winning the fight, man. I had Roach winning the fight 7 rounds to 5, Tank, meaning Roach favor. I don't know how we ended up here, but we can say it was the politics, because, you know, Tank a bigger fighter. If you want to beat the king, you got to beat the king. In order to beat the king, you got to knock him out. And they ain't doing this fight. But, hey, the next fight going to be big bread, though. So that's all I got to say, man.
Yeah. Great fight, man. Great fight. Great fucking fight.
Renowned boxer Canelo Alvarez shared his opinion on the controversy, stating that the knee taken by GervontaDavis should have been ruled a knockdown. Canelo's opinion carries a lot of weight in the boxing community because of his experience and status as a top fighter.
GervontaDavis take a knee, and should he have been deducted a point, and in the end lost that fight to Roach, in your opinion?
Yeah, in my opinion, if it was a draw, he take a knee. And plus the corner go up and put it a towel in the face, that's a disqualification for sure. I'm talking about the rules, but it's not my business.
WBA President Gilberto Mendoza has called for a rematch, saying, "I have asked the WBA Boxing Committee to follow up on the rematch case closely. However, we believe the fighters, as expressed in the post-fight interview, will agree to do it again." Mendoza's proactive stance highlights the importance of resolving the controversy and giving both fighters a chance to settle the dispute. Word. Smith's tweet directly responds to WBA President Gilberto Mendoza's call for a rematch, arguing that the draw for Lamont was already generous. Smith claims that now Roach is trying to force a rematch to be gifted a win, which he says is a dishonest move. He warns that rewarding such tactics would make the committee look weak and vulnerable, adding, "What if Tank doesn't like the decision and drops the belt?" Smith suggests that Roach is using outside pressure to get another fight instead of earning it fairly. A growing belief among boxing fans and analysts is that GervontaDavis will likely avoid a rematch with Lamont Roach. This belief is based on Davis's history of not engaging in tough rematches, such as his decision not to pursue a second fight against Ryan Garcia and other challenging opponents in the past. Some argue that Davis prefers to keep his undefeated record without taking unnecessary risks against difficult opponents.
Never see that fight happen again. It just will not happen. Gervonta Tank Davis doesn't like hard fights. It's that simple. We've seen it over and over. He fought a Ryan Garcia drained. He fought a very inexperienced Rolly Romero. He will not fight Devin Haney. He will not fight Shakur. He will not fight Pitbull Cruz again. He will not fight Lamont Roach again. He will not fight Tefimo. He will not fight Inao. He will not fight those guys. That's just not who Tank is.
Throughout the fight, Roach showed his technical ability, resilience, and conditioning, managing to push GervontaDavis to the limit over 12 rounds. The fact that the bout ended in a controversial draw only highlighted Roach's skills, proving that he could compete at the highest level.
Was Lamont Roach robbed in this fight? What do y'all think? We're seeing a lot of the comments. People seem to think he was. He did outland Tank Davis. But was it by enough to get that decision? What do you think? Here's one of the punches he threw at Tank Davis right here. You can see the effect. Tank Davis did not look like normal Tank Davis tonight. You could see Lamont applying the pressure all night, especially around that 6th round area where you usually see Tank Davis take off. I'll tell you what, it's one of the first fights I've paid for that we got our money's worth. What an ending, you know. So a majority draw was the decision, but what do y'all think, guys? Do you think Lamont got cheated out of this decision, or do you think the right call was a draw? It was a wild night. And then the knee, right? The knee was bizarre. Why did GervontaDavis take a knee? That was strange to me. It came out of nowhere. He said it had something to do with something in his hair or whatnot. That was weird. Lamont thinks he won the fight. I think we're definitely going to get a rematch, but I want to ask the people out there, what do you think? Was Lamont robbed tonight?
Skepticism is growing about GervontaDavis's willingness to have a rematch with Lamont Roach.
Look, I had just finished my recovery session, so I was pretty docile and relaxed, and then the fight, especially at the start of it, wasn't too thrilling and too action-packed, so I was starting to doze off a little bit, but I woke up a little bit more when obviously Lamont started giving him some work, and he looked good, man. I got to give respect to Lamont Roach. He proved a lot of guys wrong. I think he shocked Tank a lot with what he was able to bring, and again, we saw the controversy with the knee. To me, that's a knockdown. You can't just take a knee and decide to, go to your corner and get your face wiped. So, yeah, if that's a 10-8 round, Lamont wins the fight. So it's, unfortunate, but that's the fight game. Hopefully they'll do it again and he gets paid, what he's worth.
Have you ever seen anything like that in boxing before? A guy sort of just voluntarily...
We've seen Floyd take a knee and be put on the count. We've seen Miguel Cotto, take a knee, obviously into his corner, be put on the count. If we're allowed to start taking knees and run